Hey everyone, this is Lucid. I'm going to be talking about pretender creation for late age Mictlan, and a lot of you have sent in different builds, so if you want to look in the comments for the previous video, the announcement video, you can see a lot of build suggestions. A lot of them are good. In fact, the build I ended up taking was one of the ones in the comments. I think I would have taken it anyway, but it just goes to show that great minds think alike. So let's go ahead without any further ado and create this pretender god. So to kind of summarize, because of course when you create a pretender god, it's super linked to the nation you're picking. These are our Recruit Anywhere Sacreds, and they have one attack in this form, but in the next form they have 3 attacks. They're shapeshifters, and then we have this dude too, but this guy's cap only. And he has 2 attacks and can fly, so pretty solid. We get a bonus water and a bonus blood, and these both have the potential to be very good for offensive blesses. And so anyway, our troops are kind of very killy. I mean, these guys have some endurance, whereas they have 2 forms, so they have a fair amount of HP. So our troops have a fair amount of HP, but they don't have much in the way of, armor or defense or anything like that. So yeah, our protection for all our troops, like we have 0 natural protection. All of it is from crappy armor. And yeah, so I think you kind of struggle with this nation to make a defensive-oriented bless. And all of your troops are sacred that are any good. Like, this is probably your... Well, okay, this guy's just a standard bearer. This is kind of your best non-sacred troop, and he basically sucks. I mean, he's kind of like an indie. Maybe a little bit better bang for your buck. But yeah, he's pretty bad. So you're going to be needing sacreds. You do get some decent ocean troops, which aren't horrible. And you do get a sacred underwater dude too. This guy actually, he's kind of similar to like late age Atlantis's unit, except not as good. But he does have kind of sort of okay armor. You could think more about, and he only has 1 attack. This guy doesn't do well with an offensive bless. He probably would do better with like a middling or defensive bless if you want to expand underwater. So with that, I think with this nation you don't have a ton of flexibility in terms of what build you go. I think you need to go for a heavy bless. How heavy, of course, is up to you. The other thing that's really important about this nation is your dominion doesn't spread unless you do blood sacrifices. So you put temples up and things like that, your dominion is not going to go anywhere, which on one hand is bad because you have to spend money or blood slaves to actually have dominion anywhere, but on the other hand, you can have enemy dominion all in your places, which is risky, especially in the late game when there's a lot of really strong globals which can come up, which can kind of screw you. But blood sacrificing is very powerful, and if you need to get a particular dominion out, you can usually do that, but you do have to be careful. Something like, if somebody's got 8 dominion in most of your provinces and they throw up Vengeful Water, that is a game-losing condition. So, anyway, without much further ado, let's get into pretender design. Now, I think while you do want a good bless, if you wanted to, you could go for like a rainbow bless, and this was probably the pretender you would pick. Smoking Mirror if you do a rainbow. I think 6 is the minimum dominion because you're going to be getting a priest in almost all your forts every turn, so that's going to leave just 5 spots left for getting sacreds. And with this, I mean, you could basically, if you go for an imprisoned rainbow, you could have a very, very strong minor bless. And you see you get the bonus points from just being late age Mictlan. And then you would probably pick up something else like, well, let's see. Like you could go attack, attack. Oh, 1 attack is fine. And then you'd probably go for defense twice. And defense twice will actually help you a lot in expansion. Swiftness is actually quite good on these guys, so swiftness with minor shock resistance would be quite good. Swiftness is going to allow you to strike first in combat, which during expansion matters, and with a bunch of flyers, it definitely matters. Strength of the Earth is quite good. It's going to add to your damage. And then you could go magic weapons, which is always nice. And then you could get minor magic resistance, whereas you have demons that you summon, so that would be good. And then for death, death is one of those ones. There's not really great options. Yeah, not totally sure what I would get here. Death is kind of one of the ones you may not even want it, but you actually get it very cheap. So we could actually, because you start off with one path with this particular chassis. Not sure what you would get here. You know, withering weapons in theory is helpful, but you have very kill units. You're going to be killing things anyway. I would probably just get like 2 more and go for Stygian Flesh, maybe. Let's see, we may end up canceling the sorcery things too. Well, we wouldn't do it entirely. Maybe we just go blood. Because nature, you could get, if you have Satis in your game, well, no. If you have, I don't know which nations in late age are the most likely to put up foul vapors, but you could get poison resistance. Otherwise, I'd probably skip this. Yeah, it's kind of shit, actually. Magic weapons is nice. Blood, of course, is very good. Getting blood surge, I think that's what I would probably do. I'd probably like skip this, do this up 1 more. What did we have for astral? Depending who you're fighting, maybe solar weapons. Yeah, maybe, well, I don't know. That's pretty expensive. And we already have astral. We don't actually really need astral. So you could get some astral if you really think you need magic weapons, or if Lemuria's in your game because we're late age. But I think it may be better to just skip it and get a little better scales and a little better blood. Let's get our blood a little higher here, and we will get strength of the flesh. So with this, we've got +2 attack, we've got +4 defense, swiftness, so we're going to get first attack, and then we've got +4 strength, and then we're most often going to hit people on our initial salvo, given that we have swiftness and attack skill and things like that. So once we kill somebody, our attack is going to be +5, and then our strength is going to be +7. So anyway, this gives you very killy sacreds, and you still get plenty good scales, which in our case, we would probably go... yeah, you actually probably could take more. I would probably actually go up more. Like, I'd probably get 2, because you don't really need this good of scales. And then swiftness. You can get swiftness ×2. It's going to make your guys very, very scary. We do have death, which we're not taking advantage of at all. And you kind of can use it on your jaguars, since they will get basically double the bonus from it. Yeah. Because in general, you're kind of going to want to tank these. Like, you don't need more than 2. Like, you can totally tank productivity, especially if you have growth, because that way your population's not going to die and slowly erode your resources. This one, you can go down to Turmoil 2, though... Oh, we probably want higher Dominion, maybe. 8 is probably a little overkill. 2 is probably fine. Luck, I don't know if we're going to want, because we probably don't want our Dominion everywhere. We're probably happy to have other people's Dominion. So I think, yeah, we can actually go down 1 in air and just do swiftness. Like this, it's probably fine. And then strength of, we still have a ton of points actually. The nice thing about this too is with boots, we can forge Staff of Elemental Mastery with, or actually we don't even need boots, we can do it with fire and water, or with air and earth. Death is high enough with the staff, we can make vampires if we want to. Which actually is kind of nice. You can get some kind of good stuff with just being able to add death to your communions and get some of the important death spells up. Though I don't think you would be massing them, because you have much better ways to spend slaves than vampire lords. What should we get here? It's kind of like I feel like we should get more. Yeah. The thing too, the higher we get our attack, the more leverage we're going to get I think it's probably worth with this, like just going in and going back to what. Oh, we've got to go up to 4. Maybe we come down here and we go back to what we had with air. And this will still allow us to climb up all the way into air. And this, I might do something like this if it were going to be a long multiplayer game. The thing, though, is that in this particular game, we have what do you call it? The apocalypse coming on at turn 40. So going for a late game build that pays off, this would pay off a bit later because our cap would still have stuff. We could put growth in important provinces. And we're going to have a rainbow for the late game, which is pretty damn useful. So this, I would probably... I don't really like cancer meme builds. I don't think... They force me into a diplomatic type of strategy I don't really like, which is eat people early. And I find it's really hard to consistently win games that way. But anyway, this is probably more like something I would get. So the net effect will be 4 attack, 4 defense, which will jump up to 7 attack, 5 defense when we have Blood Surge on. And then we are going to have 4, 6... So we're going to have 6 strength additionally, normally, and that will jump up to 9 strength when we have Blood Surge on. So these guys are going to be very, very killy. I mean, they're going to be very killy. And then with 4 defense, or 5 defense with Blood Surge on, we're not going to be as fragile, right? Because our guys will have, especially once they get a few experience stars, they will have pretty decent defense. And since we kill stuff so quickly, you're going to have less interaction with the harass penalty, so it will kind of be okay. So anyway, this is, I think, a build you could do. We can throw in... Oh, we're not fully a rainbow. I think we have, 20... Yeah, for new magic paths. So you might even be able to do this a bit cheaper on a different chassis, because I didn't realize this guy had 20 for different magic paths. I'm not going to go pick out another chassis and do it, but this is one type of build, and basically this is the Rainbow Imprisoned build. And with this, you're going to have pretty good scales, actually, and a very strong bless, which your sacreds can definitely take advantage of. Because having killy blesses is actually kind of easy to do. The only thing we're obviously missing on, which is huge, would be having quickness, which, in theory, we could probably drop some of these and still get quickness, but we would only get it in the late game, which is not what we want. Anyway, this is a build you could do. I'm now going to just pop up and show you the build that I actually did for this game. And I was tinkering around. So actually, I'm going to show you one more build first. This is half measure. And I was thinking, should I totally kill my scales? Should I just go full on cancer, right? And just try to end the game quickly because it's only going to go to turn 40. Should I do that? And then I was like, no, I don't want to have death because I'm a blood nation, and blood nations don't like death. And, we need at least 1 luck for this, and, my dominion's kind of important. I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, I'd rather go up 2 in heat rather than down to cold. And if you do that, this is kind of the best you can do for an offensive bless. We have quickness, which is just ridiculous on offensive blesses. We have strength of flesh, so we're going to get +2 strength normally, or +5 when we have Blood Surge on, and then we get +2 attack and defense from quickness too, and we're going to have luck, which is kind of awesome on Mictlan, because our shape-shifting dudes, they get luck at basically when the first form dies and then when the second form dies. So it's twice as good on our Jaguar Warriors, though it's not as good on our Flyers. Though with our Flyers, they're so killy. Luck is very good on a killy bless because there's a good chance I can kill you before the battle drags on long enough for the fact that, luck is only going to work when they're dying to really matter. In a very long battle, luck doesn't matter quite as much. So anyway, that was kind of build 1, and then I was like, well, let's not take half measures, right? If we're going to go Cancer Meme Bless, let's go Cancer Meme Bless. And this was actually one of the comments in the original video had this exact bless, which basically was what I put up before, plus fire. And with fire, he added attack skill and fire resistance. Now we're pretty close to being able to get awe, and awe is actually one of the other blesses that's pretty damn good on Mictlan, but we're not going to do it. We're not going to do it. We're going full out. So basically this attack skill is going to make us a bit more killy, because especially at the beginning for the first couple attacks, our attack skill isn't phenomenal. But with this, our attack skill is going to be like 19, especially once we get a couple experience stars on our dudes. And then the fire resistance is, I kind of want to go mass protection, and this is a good cover my ass if I do that. And then also, yeah, there's not a ton of Fire Nation, so I'm not really thinking I need it for that. It's more like so I can throw up mass protection, and then if somebody manages to spam out fire elementals, I don't just kind of automatically lose. But for this, we killed every single scale as much as we could except luck, which actually is kind of a good thing to do. If you're going to kill all of your scales, you don't want to kill luck all the way. And then you start off at heat 1, so going down to cold 2 is as far as you go where you still get design points. I mean, I could go to cold 3, but you don't get more design points because you can only get 3 design points out of sacking your temperature scales. This is going to open up river movement, which actually is kind of okay for me. It's going to slow down my movement through my lands, though, like on roads and things like that, but that's okay. And then we're Dominion 8, so that's actually pretty high. The big problem is this is going to kill my population pretty quickly, like my population in my capital, etc. So I'm probably not going to look to spread this at all. We'll probably just keep it in my capital. Or if I'm a Jedi Master, I will keep it in a couple other cities and then expunge it from my capital if I can, like, teleport my god, which would be hilarious, but I'm totally not above doing that. Yeah, so anyway, this is the build I picked. I think there's probably other ways to build them. You could go for some of the weapons, like flaming weapons, cold weapons. I feel that's too much a roll of the dice, like, if other people have resistances and stuff, then they're just worthless. I'd much rather go strength. So, it would be cool if they figured out a way to change those where I think they were less dice rolly. But anyway, this is it. So anyway, if you're excited about seeing flying cancer spam on my team instead of if you were watching my Bandar log game, me getting crapped on by it, then tune in to watch the rest of this episode or this series. So thanks, guys. See you next time.